morning. So every morning I do a body scan, and then this morning I decided to bring you in with this. I cannot start my day without a mantra to basically welcome in the day. And then from there, I go into a body scan, assessing the emotions. And this is a great place for loss and grief. Any adjustments or changes, really an emphasis on grief. If there's any kind of turmoil or upset, it's a really great way to take 5 minutes and just acknowledge that you miss somebody. Really, that's it. Just acknowledge that you've missed something or acknowledge that you have lost something and that makes you sad. Those two emotions are very powerful in validation when you're in the grieving process. After that acknowledgement, those words combined with, for me, a cry, I self-soothe, and then I do a second body scan looking for additional emotions. And the additional emotion is actually intuition, which is the feeling of, it's the gut instinct, but it's also do I feel grounded today? Do I feel off today? Where's my energy at? And meditation is a phenomenal way to bring it all back to the center. And I cannot do any work or start my day without doing this. If I do, my work completely suffers. There's no working at all. And it took me hours of wasting time trying to push through the emotions. And a lot of people do this where they aren't feeling emotionally well, so they'll just push through. And I also have a sore throat right now and the beginnings of a cold, so I'm also not feeling physically well. So I know that physically you push through. But when you apply that same concept to emotions, it causes a lot of problems, immediate and or in the long run. So for my meditations, take a moment, get yourself set up. Breathe in. Breathe out. And I am currently using grounding. I love these things. These are the frequencies. And just imagine the flow of energy all around you, and you are sitting in it because you are sitting in it. And then pull it in, and it's going to go down through your head. And just imagine it siphoning in through your head and working its way down your body. And push. And imagine you are a tree or a plant with roots that dig deep into the earth. We're going to do some free-form breathing to start. Your mind may wander, that's fine. The purpose of meditation, there are many reasons why people do meditation. This particular meditation is a body scan, grounding, and self-assessment. So in this one, we're not looking to discipline the mind, we're looking to discipline the emotions. In, hold. All right, now I'm going to walk you through. You can close your eyes and I'll walk you through a few guided meditations. We'll do about 5 breaths. We'll do box breathing. Always in through the nose, always out through the mouth. We're going to inhale, hold, exhale. Everything is a count of 4. So it'll be intake 4, hold 4, release 4, and then cycle again. We're going to do this 5 times, but I don't do rounds of 4, I do rounds of 3. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Last, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. And I'm a talker, so I can't just meditate. I have to explain. We're going to do another round of 5 breaths, just like that. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk. So again, 1, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. A couple cleansing breaths, free form. Going to give you about 2 minutes to just breathe, eyes closed, as you wish. Okay. My meditations are going to focus a lot on learning emotions. It sounds very elementary, but Our society stinks. And understanding and learning emotions is a lot of managing emotions. And because we're not taught how to identify and manage emotions, the majority of us avoid them and suppress them. So we're not going to do that. What I'm going to do is using meditation, we're going to start dissecting all the different emotions. I have a glossary currently in my head. I will be putting it out on paper, and I'm going to be talking a lot on all the different span of emotions. There is, and I really want to focus this morning on grief. This week, we're going to talk a lot about grief. And I have two groups in here. This is information coming in from my meditation group, Meditation for Beginners. And I am also going to be pulling in from, this is the Healing Gardens other group. So I have two groups who get access to this video, as well as my YouTube subscribers. So I have a lot of communities that I have that are all plugging into this. So A, meet B. That being said, for my meditation group, I talk a lot about meditation. The focus there is how to meditate, how to get started with meditation, and how to get over the first problems with meditation. I have stepped significantly away from this group while I focus on the Healing Garden and getting that up. And now I'm at a point where I'm ready to bring both forces together. So, and if you are interested in either group, you can swap, switch, and all that jazz. So, the other side of this is the Healing Garden. I teach people how to fortify their identity, to prevent abuse, to expedite their recovery time following abuse, and to also avoid and are also to heal from past abuse. When you fortify the identity, it's the fail safe against abuse. It's extraordinary, very powerful stuff. In order to do that, you have got to plug in to your emotions. It's very much a catch-22. You have your emotions that all work with your system to communicate. Hey, this is how abuse happens. This is what's going on. This is where the abuse is happening. Do something about the abuse. But because we're taught to throw away our emotions, we are deliberately keeping ourselves vulnerable. Now, I do a thing where I document in the chat when I say something really awesome and I go, oh, I want to go back on that. I don't remember what I just said, so instead I'm going to put a marker to remind myself to go back to this point, because that's it. When you choose, that's what I said, when you choose to suppress your emotions, you choose to be vulnerable to abuse. I'm going to say open to abuse. And it's a really, I don't know about you, but I have been abused so much that I'm at a point where I will happily absorb and take in all of my emotions just to avoid more abuse. So it's really a choice. You can choose emotions or you can choose the abuse. If you are not paying attention to the emotions, if you don't know how to read the emotions properly, you're not fortifying your identity, and that makes you very vulnerable and susceptible to abuse. It keeps you open to the same habits that keep giving you the abuse over and over again. And yeah, it's traumatic. Yeah, it's an absolutely devastating cycle. And the only way to break it, is to learn, embrace, feel the emotions, take them into you, and make the choice between feeling the emotions so that you educate yourself enough to know them, educate yourself enough to know what they are meaning, what's going on to your system when you feel them, or you can ignore the abuse, or you can open yourself up for abuse. So it's either or. There really is. And the better you get at managing your emotions, the less likely you'll experience abuse. And it's been extraordinary in my life. with my journey, I started off with zero emotions. I was suppressed. I was absolutely throwing them all away, and my abuse was way up here. And as I did this, this is what I've been doing for the last 3 years. Is this where I've been adjusting it so that now my emotional knowledge, my emotional IQ, my awareness is way up here, and I am my abuse is way down here. And last night I was at an event. It was a wonderful event. And it was a writing event with sound baths. It was just so extraordinary. And it turned into a massive energy healing mantra. It was just so beautiful. And oh God, it was so, so beautiful. So that all being said, one of the things while we were reading our our literature that night. Yeah, literature. That's right. That's right. I'm calling it. Our scribbles from a writing group is literature. While we were reading our literature, this one gentleman, his turn came, and he was very theatrical with it. And there was swearing and yelling when he delivered his piece that he wrote. And it was funny, ironic funny, because we were all in this very quiet sound bath meditative state while writing. And then he interjected his piece. His focus, his emotional focus is anger. We all have emotional focus. I'll have to talk to you about emotional focus in a moment. But when he exuded what he needed to, it it was amazing to just feel this ripple of it felt like violence between the swearing and the volume of his tone. It was violent. And that's just how sensitive I've gotten to it, where now it's hearing swearing is now a form of violence. You don't have to desensitize or sensitize yourself to that extreme. I chose to. I chose to. Um, for my own personal reasons. And that might be good for you. Other people, they might prefer a lower key. So you can adjust once you figure out your emotions, you can adjust your tolerance level and your sensitivity level any way you want to any level you need. For me personally, I love it where it is right now. And when I manage it this way, when I keep it in check this way, it's a beautiful flow. It's an absolute beautiful flow. And I do this every morning. I do this every night. It's really amazing. As far as the emotional focus, we all have one emotion that's prominently in the forefront of our daily and inner workings. And it's the primary emotion that basically guides your life day to day, and it changes. It might be grief for now, where grief is the emotion that you feel. Now, grief isn't an emotion, but let's say sadness is an emotion that you feel for this period of your life. Maybe something just passed away, maybe you just lost someone. So you're going to have that period where sad is the prominent emotion in the forefront. And for that gentleman, it was anger was his prominent emotion. So you're always going to have that prominent emotion. And the ideal goal, is to have an emotion that's pleasant, that's calm, that doesn't give you constant conflict. Now, if you're going through grief, there's no avoiding it. That's part of the life. Once the grief passes, it should, if you're healthy and your emotions are well managed, slide back into a state of happiness, calm, peace. That's where we should be living. That's what our bodies and nervous system are designed to reside at. But when you're abused, we can't reside at that frequency. So instead, we end up residing at different frequencies. We end up residing with anger or pain or numbness. And that's where we shut all the emotions down. When you meditate, you want to bring those emotions back to you. And if you have unresolved issues, it's going to be a lot. This is why so many people, avoid being alone. This is why so many people avoid silence. This is why so many people have to constantly be surrounded by so many different activities. It's a distraction. It's very much a distraction method. Meditation is actually the art of saying, I'm not going to be distracted. I'm going to confront my demons. I'm going to check in with myself. I'm going to sit with myself, and I'm going to listen to myself. And this is not an easy undertaking, especially if you have been abused and or if you have not done shadow work before. So when people tell me, well, I've tried meditating, it doesn't work for me, that there's a lot there. There's a lot. And especially if you have someone with ADD, ADHD, you have someone with PTSD, there's a lot. There's a lot going on because we are programmed to avoid the inner noise, especially in our society. So meditation is basically telling ourselves, we're going to sit down now and have that internal conversation, which is why our minds wander. We're avoiding still, which is fine. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're not ready to plug in. That's okay. This isn't a race. This is how to meditate. This is what it looks like. And if you don't get this result, you're doing it wrong. That's not how meditation works. Not at all. We're going to do another breathing exercise here in a moment. I'm going to do another cycle of 5 box breathing and we'll go through it. And so when you sit down and you take in your meditation, today's focus point is going to be just getting into the habit of sitting with the emotions. It's going to be sitting and observing what you're feeling and observing your mind wandering around and screaming or wandering around busy. Observe where you feel the emotions. Are you feeling it up here in your chest? Are you feeling it lower in your sternum, in your gut? Where are you feeling your emotions? It's really important that you focus on where, because where you feel the emotions tells you what kind of emotions you are feeling. Because emotions are not these are the emotions and then there's no emotions. It doesn't work that way. There are 3 types of emotions, and there are some emotions you only feel in your head. There's other emotions you only feel in your gut. And there's other emotions you only feel in your chest and upper register. And when you realize which emotions are which, where you're feeling the emotions, then you can decide what's bothering you. You can determine, am I off balance today, or am I missing somebody? Am I just feeling like I'm not grounded today, or I'm out of touch with myself? Do I need alone time? Or am I upset about something that someone said to me at work? Very, very different dynamics. And they require very different treatment. Very different treatment. Because one is you need to do some emotional shadow work where you sit down and you give space. The other one, in the intuition and in the chest and in the gut, requires that you sit still and meditate or do a hobby or watch TV even, depending upon what your soothing type is. So we're going to do the meditation again. We're going to do 5 breaths, box breathing. I'm going to walk you through it so you can close your eyes. And I play this grounding frequency because I love to access all of it. And if you are having an exceptionally difficult day, or if you are walking into an exceptionally difficult day, I'm going to show you tapping also. Tapping is, we're just going to go through this. While you meditate, you can do this. And if you compile it with your meditation, it adds to it. It's wonderful. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But you're basically going to tap here. And this is my left eye. You're going to tap over your left eye. And you're just going to tap here. And while you do this, you can say things like, all this conflict, release all this conflict, release all the anxiety, release, let it go. Just release it. I don't like to use the words let it go. I like the phrase release. It's different because, and I'll show you. This, well, here, let's do it. Okay, so this is release. Let it go means pushing it away. In my opinion, whenever I hear let it go, I feel like it's pushing it away. I feel like it's implying that the object you are releasing is trying to get away. And that's not the case in many cases. In many cases, you're just doing this. But release. That's all. Just release. It's not to say it's going to go anywhere. Just release it. So that if it decides to move around, it can. But release it. So, and a lot of people will release or hold on to something, expecting it to go, thinking it's going to go. And now you get into imagination. And we don't want to do that. So tapping. So say things like, I release this conflict. I release the conflict. I release the stress. I release it. And then you're going to tap here on the temple so you can just move it. I release it. And you can do this with me now if you want, and I'll guide you. I release it. I release all this conflict. Deep breath in. We're going to go under the eye next. I release all this conflict. All this conflict. I release all this conflict. My God, I love doing this. It feels so good to me. Okay, now under the bridge of the nose, right here. All this conflict. This one's always weird for me. All this conflict. All this conflict. And then under the mouth, right here. All this conflict. And breathe. Release all this conflict. Release the conflict. Release the stress. And we're going to go around the eye again, starting at the top right here. All this conflict. Release. Release all the conflict. To the side of the eye on the temple. All this conflict. Deep breath in. Hold. All this conflict. Under the eye again. All this conflict. Back to under the bridge of the nose. All this conflict. All this conflict. And under. All this conflict. And now we're going to move to the top of the head. All this conflict. All this conflict. Release it. Release all the conflict. Now, with your arm up, you're going to want to tap right here. And this is the right arm. Release. I love the phrase, release what does not serve me. Oh, I love that phrase. Please say that one if you're inclined to. Release what does not serve me. Release what does not serve me. All right, and back to the eye once more. All this conflict. All this conflict. Under the eye, all this conflict. Release it. Release the conflict. Under the nose. Release. And then the chin. Okay, now we're going to begin the meditation. Take a couple of breaths. We're going to do some free form, just casual breathing. We're going to do 5 deep breaths. I'm going to count them through. I'm going to do one for example. It's going to go in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in. That's the cycle we're going to do. Okay? Okay, 5 times. And in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Freeform. I'm going to take about 3 minutes. Breathe, freeform. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Observe what you are feeling. Try and name the emotions. If you don't want to, if they don't feel good to you, if it causes you anxiety, then don't worry about naming the emotions. If you can name the emotions, though, do so. Try not to feel anything negative toward the emotions, even if you've been taught that the emotion you feel is a negative one. Sad is not a bad emotion. It is a very healthy, good emotion, and we love it. Anger is a very good emotion. Anger is self-love. It is self-love in its purest form. I love to use mantras. One of my favorites is I am enough. I am enough. Take that in. If there's another mantra you enjoy using, feel free to say it. Meditation is about a relationship with yourself. Deep breath in. Slowly release and say or think, I release what does not serve me. And imagine you flushing everything off of you, shrugging off all of the things that do not serve you. I'm going to say that again. Deep breath in. And when you exhale, use the mantra, I release what does not serve me. Exhale and envision all the toxins inside of you, emotional toxins, mental toxins, pushing down through your system into the ground as if it nourishes the earth. Freelance breathing again. And we're going to come back to the room. This is where take a moment and really, how do you feel? And try and notice the difference you felt when you started versus the difference you feel now. This is emotional regulation. I do not like closing up a meditation practice rapidly because I feel it jars. It's a process. For me, it's like I'm sitting in one dimension and now I'm back to the earth. But the earth for me is not a second dimension. It's levels. And I feel like it's too abrupt to come back to the earth and then say, okay, bye. I can't do that. So I'm going to be here for another 5-10 minutes until it feels right for me. And this just allows me time. That way there isn't that abrupt adjustment between the meditation practice and the real world. That doesn't work for me. I think that's why I struggle with most meditation apps, is because it's really a harsh transition from point A to point B of, okay, now I'm in this mode of pure isolation and contentment and calm. And then I'm standing outside at a subway station trying to catch the train downtown. And it's really, for me, that's it's actually painful for me. So I like to slowly allow myself to go back in. I do this every morning where we're going to be bringing in all of my groups. I have them scattered all over the internet. And I'm finally at a point where I can bring everybody together. And now I've been building pillars. So I have my healing garden happening where I talk about trauma recovery, grief. And then I have my meditation for beginners class. I have my YouTube channel. I have my website. I have my subscribers. And I use the meditation in the morning to bring everybody together. Now that I'm solidified in all of my pillars, I can bring everybody together under the meditation. And there will be a lot of cross referencing. So I'm going to talk about how to meditate for my beginner meditations, but I'm also going to talk about how to fortify your identity, which is what this is. We are fortifying our identity to prevent abuse from happening again, to minimize the damage done when abuse does happen again, and most importantly, to shorten the recovery time. I love shortening recovery times. So instead of handling or sitting in a trauma for 10 years or 20 years, you can recover from a trauma. If you're good enough, once you get to this mastery, you will be able to recover from a devastating trauma in about 10 days. Really, it's quite extraordinary. So I focus a lot on fortifying the identity. And to do that, we need to tap into the emotions that society has conditioned us to hate and avoid. Okay, about 3 more minutes. We're going to bring it up another level. Allow the transitioning to take place. Stretch, get comfortable. Move yourself around. Be familiar with your body. And self-care. Self-care is such a major part of meditation, self-love, fortifying your self-identity. It's everything. After this, I will be starting another session where I elaborate on the self. You are more than welcome to join me. I will be posting the link in all of my groups so that the invite will be out there. If you do not have the time, it's all pre-recorded. It's all recorded and it all will be shared. It's all in my YouTube channel. And I break everything down through everything that I offer. Okay. Some mantras that I love to use are "To thine own self be true." That was my very first mantra, and it is a lifesaver because it is a constant reminder that your first priority is to be true to yourself. And when that becomes your motivation, it really allows you to prioritize other methods and other means in your life. It's the first stepping stone to self-help, self-discovery, self-identity, self-care. I have an entire dictionary of just the self. Like, this is all I do, is self-identity, self-care, self-compassion, self-kindness, self-gentleness. Okay. And here we are. I'm going to go ahead and post all the links down below. There's my subscription link if you need to subscribe. If you want to subscribe, I do newsletters every Tuesday. In addition to that, I also have a monthly newsletter. When you subscribe, you can choose if you want weekly or monthly. And if you want to join any of my other groups, all the links are going to be down below so you can cross-reference and post and jump around. I offer meditation, consultation, and my masterclass. I also offer my workshops as well. May the kindest of words always find you. Thank you very much for joining me.